So if you'd like to stay, again, we're going to have 15 minutes of clinical questions. So for those who are happy to go now, thank you so much for joining. For people who want to join the clinical questions, please come forward so we can have a bit more of an intimate chat. And thanks again for coming. Thanks for the sponsors, for MIPS, for Home Doctor 136, and also for the math therapy. And my beautiful, lovely wife and sister has reminded me there's a lot of people behind the scenes. So we have ushers, we have people with the food, the hampers, the donations, the Zoom, coffees, so many people. Thank you so much for your help. Really, really appreciate it.
Smaller circle? Yeah, let's do a smaller circle so we can move. Because these are all. No.
Okay, I'll just explain, if you're a clinician and you want CPD points, you will get an attendance certificate as long as you have given your email, and that attendance certificate will allow you, there is a reflection sheet, so I'll just hand those out shortly, so record your reflections. For GPs, you can actually report, that's the word, and then also if whatever field you're in, you can do the same based on your own criteria for your whoever you're associated with.
I'm thinking of martial arts. Seriously? No, I do golf. I play golf.
Play golf?
And I play with my wife.
You play aggressive golf?
I play with my wife. It's not therapeutic, it's just I'm losing.
Now, hopefully you've all got pens. If not, there were free pens outside, so you can grab one. MIPS or 136. Or just put it on your phone. Yeah, Andrew will have you as well. Okay. Let's get cracking. So we're going to have about 15 minutes where we're going to go through these 4 clinical questions.
Do you have any texters that we can draw?
Texters? Let's see. Recycled highlighter. All right, let's start with the first one. So let's do 2 ages, 17, 35. So we'll do the 17-year-old Maddie first. How do I connect and engage with Maddie? And Andrew is the educator here, so he is going to facilitate this, and hopefully there'll be some texters. We're going to wing it. Yeah, I'll nip out, and Vicky might have some. So do you want to carry on? I'm going to see if we can get some texters.
Does anyone have any thoughts on how you would connect and engage with someone who's numb and robotic or addicted?
Would you like to be curious about any emotions that could be seen on the surface?
Yeah.
Like still questioning, like maybe gentle probing?
Yep.
When it comes to, I guess, that 17-year-old age in particular, starting with just generalizations of their life, what they enjoy, what they do, and doing that before you actually move on to the fun questions.
Good bad sandwich.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
I think thinking about leaving any preconceived ideas or assumptions and trying to be present in the moment as much as possible.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the question you asked us before.
Yeah.
Diving in, so.
Andrew, you know my field, so I think for the person with the Damati who's 17, is not to be dismissive
Yep.
and to listen, which is very hard in my department. But we need to recognize that that is an important thing.
Any thoughts?
I think in some ways she's pretty easy to motivate. She's an elite athlete. She loves diving. She's got a lot of goals. So reclaiming her health is going to be very important for her future direction. I mean, yes, it might need looking at the psychological reasons why she got there, but she's going to be very motivated to want to turn it around.
Yeah. I would, personally, I would try to study about diving. It's a sport that I don't know about. So like, search about famous athletes, someone that she's inspired for, you know? Because she's 17, so she probably looks forward to great athletes that are older and have a great history.
Yep.
And try to get into her world of sports and try to speak her language. If that makes sense.
Just also a quick comment on engaging young people. So the HEADS assessment is something that we all do as clinicians. So HEADS is an acronym for home, the environment, education or work environment. A is then activities, social activities, and then D is for drugs, and then other substances, and then S is for suicide, spirituality, so the mental health side of things as well. So often that kind of assessment is really helpful for young people. So I would encourage that in terms of engagement to go through a HEADS assessment. Let's now move on to 35-year-old Maddie, who has addiction. And again, the same question is, how do we connect and engage with 35-year-old Maddie? Any thoughts, comments?
My thoughts were for 35-year-old Maddie.
Oh, your thoughts were already for 35-year-old.
I listened to it.
That's okay. Yeah. Any other thoughts for 35-year-old Maddie?
So starting with maybe her own ideas and expectations about the consult. So previously when she was 17, Maddie might be concerned about her sport, and now she might be more concerned about her two children. So using maybe her children as a motivator and to start with that and see what she wants to achieve out of the consult, so she can be a better mother for her kids, which might be more of a motivator in this age for her now.
Yeah, great. And often I'll find that with working in the forensic space, that people are doing a lot because of their children. Any other comments from... No? Okay, let's go on to the... Yeah. Go ahead.
I was thinking perhaps, you did mention that alcohol is not the problem, it's something else is the problem. What is that problem?
Yep. So going to find the underlying root cause.
Got another.
Well, I was just thinking you wouldn't go straight into talking about the alcohol, just into talk about the one in general and just finish it.
Yes, I think the idea of you're important, what's important about you, and not kind of having the label of alcohol is you.
Yeah, with regards to the 35-year-old Maddie, my thinking is she's a bit more mature. She's hopefully with her thinking, she has better insight. My advantage is by the time they come to me, they already have complications. They have pancreatitis, they've had post-ictal seizures, they've had electrolyte imbalances. So I guess to recognize red flags, both from the community and from the emergency department, is very helpful. And to engage other services early. I must admit, and sometimes we're guilty of this, sedate them and then just wait for the mental health nurse to come in the morning. Sometimes it is what is needed because they are in a psychotic stage. But it doesn't help. It doesn't stop the emergency department.
Let's go fast forward now. Let's do the next two questions together. How do I approach her presentation? So let's do 17-year-old Maddie. And then what feelings arise when this 17-year-old presents to you? So again, we've dealt a little bit with maybe the approach, and now the next thing will be what feelings arise, 17-year-old Maddie.
I can kind of share a little bit of this. I'm currently doing a rotation eating disorders unit, so I'm learning as I go, and I think the approach that I'm kind of trying to work on is empathy and kind of what you touched on Libby earlier, just understanding the person, not kind of what's going on, even during meal support and, the frustration that I can feel is that they're trying to be difficult with me, they're trying to hide things from me, I can see what they're trying to do, and, I'm psychoanalyzing everything, but then underneath that, it's the fear and all the other things that they're experiencing, and they're actually going through probably the lowest, most traumatic period of their life, but for me it's just a day at work, so really trying to, shift my perspective.
Yeah. Come up, Lauren, you got away with sitting down.
I think something I'm very conscious of as a therapist is that often an initial feeling that comes up with me when I get a client is these people are paying me and I have to fix this problem. You don't see a psychologist just because. And I think it's something that comes up a lot in my supervision sessions is that panic of they're paying for a service and there's pressure on you to fix the problem. So that, I think it would be is often the feeling that comes up with me when I get a new client, especially a teenager, when the parents have a certain expectation of me to solve things.
So I work with adolescent eating disorders, it's my specialty, and I think something for me that comes up a lot is just scared to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. And especially in inpatient, we do, like I touched on before, we do things that are really traumatizing for these teenagers. And I think you get scared where are you drawing the line of being firm enough that you're getting them the help they need, but not being so firm you are the reason they're traumatized.
Libby?
I was just going to say one of the very positive features of Maddie's presentation is that it is only a 4-month history, and that is a massive bonus in terms of an eating disorder patient. The prognosis is excellent. If she'd had it for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, prognosis is dramatically worse. But a 4-month history, that is perfect, and a motivated patient. I mean, it doesn't mean that there aren't psychological reasons that need to be worked through, but statistically, she has an excellent prognosis.
For time's sake, let's now move on to approaching presentation of Maddie and also the feelings that arise in you for the 35-year-old Maddie. So again, this is more around addiction.
I'll share on the feelings for 35-year-old Maddie. I think it feels kind of close to me. My work was frustrated. I think I feel the anger secondhand, for sure. And I think it would take a lot of self-control and gentleness. I need to really engage my spiritual, the Holy Spirit basically, to actually sit with her. Because I think I feel resentment for sure on her behalf toward herself and toward the people she's hurting. I got it all for me. What was that question?
So the feelings, and then the first one was the approach. So how do you approach her?
I feel like the antidote to the resentment that I would be feeling would be to approach from a place of curiosity and grace. So what does that bring? What does that feel like? You tell me, I can't imagine how that would feel, validating the numbness almost, which is numb. Numb is also a feeling. That's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, so again, non-judgmental, going against maybe the judgment type of emotions that you're feeling.
The exact opposite of what my flesh wants to do.
Alex, you had a comment?
One thing that got my attention was that she was a high achiever as a young age. She had that control over feeding behaviors. And then on her outer life, something happened that was just mentioned, but something that is totally out of her control, which is the death of her mother. And I don't know if that was the trigger, but that is related to drunkenness and this consumption of alcohol being in this unstated state. So I would approach in the sense of how does she deal with controlling things and not controlling aspects of her life. You know? That makes sense?
Yeah. So again, the idea of the death of her mother being maybe a trigger. Then you bring in things like grief, self-medicating, so those things. I don't know, Andrew, any comments on that side of it?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is that there might be a difference between how you emotionally experience someone who's self-harming and someone who goes through tragedy. Sometimes when we're clinicians, we want to find a reason for everything. Oh, it's because of this, it's because you did this, you know, but sometimes we don't know why things happen. And the unbearable nature of meeting tragedy, miscarriages or, untimely cancer that comes from nowhere, can hijack you. You know, sometimes, in a way, it's easier to say, oh, I did that to myself. It's just clearer. But if your mind wants to find a reason for everything, and tragedies happen, that can be extraordinarily distressing.
Let's, for time's sake, let's move on to the last one. Or just a question. Go.
So how would I approach your presentations? With compassion.
Yep.
Right. she's gone from the heights of competition, now she's this. The fact that she's numb tells us that she's given up. And that what she needs is someone who's there to listen and try and help her where she's at. Not really look at the whole problem, but look at what the problems are that are behind it and try and just be there, someone to listen to, and someone that can actually be that, hey, I'm here to help. And that's what I think it might help.
Thanks, David. So again, come from a place of compassion, and I think I asked Libby the other night, what do you think is the real kind of key to helping people through eating disorders? And I think your answer, Libby, was just listening. One clinician I really like at working with at Headspace, her kind of narrative to patients when they're going through distress is, we are in a dark place, in a dark forest. I don't know the way out, but you're not alone. I'm with you, and we will do this together. So I think that sense of connection, so people don't feel alone, is very powerful. Any comments on?
Can I? There was an interesting little tidbit that Andrew put into that case study, which is that she'd been contacted by the Child Protective Services, and I think as a clinician, sometimes you are the one that has to contact DCJ, knowing that there's children who are impacted in these situations, and it's just an interesting thing to reflect on, of how do I still connect with the 35-year-old in front of me who's in pain and build trust there and still have to be the person that contacts like DCJ to make sure that the children in this are safe. I'm not coming to this with an answer, I'm just putting it like as a reality of what it's like to work in this space. And whenever there's kids involved, of how do you, and I guess sometimes it's not possible, but how do you balance that? And just reflecting on how would I have that conversation with her? What would I be transparent about? How would I manage the outflow of that?
Yeah, because your responsibility is with the children as well as Maddie, and on one front you report, you might lose the therapeutic relationship with Maddie, so it puts you in a difficult position. We're going to go to the last one. This one now covers Maddie at 17 and 35. What early life experiences may be influencing her current state? So again, maybe slightly different because we've got an eating disorder, and then at 35 we've got addiction. Any thoughts on early life experiences? And you've got 2.5 minutes.
I guess, Mark, as a child, the pressure to accomplish, the expectations both from the parents and the school and, the state, whether she's a state champion, I think that would be contributory to that, and the family environment.
Yeah, and looking from a schema therapy point of view, unrelenting standards, high-achieving parents, role modelling that, and the feeling that I've got to now be perfect, and that pressure, very anxiety-inducing, in addition to the schema of defectiveness where I just will not be able to meet that standard, and I'm never going to be good enough, can also be... and also if you've got an avoiding coping style, then you will seek addiction or self-medicating.
I sometimes feel that her parents are Asians. It could be, but joking aside, cultural and tradition from the parents can influence a child like this.
Okay, any final comments from floor? Andrew?
Well, I guess whenever we're talking about family and parents and things like that, I always like to distinguish between what was the message that was intended versus what was the message that was received, and that can be a nuanced conversation there that, as a parent, there's what you want your children to take away from how you parent them, and then there's what they actually, and sometimes they can be very different through no one's fault.
Yeah. So perception is one thing, and so it's ultimately what people receive, that's what they've actually got in their mind, and so there's no point arguing about it. I was really loving, but if they didn't feel that, it's actually that's what you've got to deal with. Libby?
I don't think I've got any other.
Andrew?
I think the idea of being a person to someone, not a problem solver. The answer for much of this is love, and I don't want to get too mushy about it, but it's actually an expansive love, a wise love, a love that loves the system, not just the person, a love that's curious and kind, and may need to be patient. So this is not a quick fix here.
And lastly, Lauren.
No, I think Andrew wrapped it up.
Thanks, everyone. So, thanks for joining. Again, thanks for everyone who made this day work, and safe journey home. And if there's any rubbish or anything on the way out, if you could make sure it's tidied away, so Monash University will be happy with us and have us back next year. Thanks again.